You wanted answers. God offered a step. No spotlight, just the sound of your own breath and his quiet voice saying, "Trust me." Courage isn't knowing how it ends. It's moving anyway. Faith takes the step and finds God already there. Beyond, step into the unseen.
Well, it was September 2010. Was anyone born in 2010 in this room? Quite a few. Okay, cool. There's this songwriter named Ali Tamposi, and she was, quote, "in the worst mood I've ever been. My boyfriend at the time had not been answering my calls, and one of my friends told me that they had seen him out with another girl." Scandalous. I know. I was so bleeped off. My mom was in town staying with me at the time. And I'd been up all night the night before, hysterical. I didn't want to do this songwriting session she was about to go into. I was driving to the session and telling my mom, "I'm turning around. I can't do it. I need to go. Then my mom said, "Allie, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Now, that's a super cheesy and corny line that I would never say to anyone ever who's going through a difficult situation. Because, I don't know, it's like not necessarily even true. It's like, no, what doesn't kill you could leave you like broken, destroyed, and horribly debilitated and disfigured. I don't know, like it could be pretty bad, actually. So I kind of don't really agree with the statement in general. If you've been in the middle of pain and stress and difficulty, this is just not what you want to hear. It doesn't help, right? It's like, oh, one of those phrases like God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors, you know? It's like, shut up. I don't want to be a warrior. I'm just some guy. I just want to chill. Like, that's it. But, it's not always life. And some of you guys know this all too well, that just chilling and taking it easy and having the enemy leave you alone and you just live this nice, safe, quiet life in your perfect little bubble, like it's usually not reality. And if it is, it's not going to be reality forever, most likely. In fact, speaking in general, you guys are under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. Pressure to perform, whether it's athletically or academically or in extracurriculars or online, even when it comes to making decisions that will affect your entire future forever. That's a crazy pressure to put on somebody who's a teenager, right? Like, schools are having these tracks, like I'm telling y'all something y'all don't know, where it's like, hey, pick your career path. And it's like, bro, I'm in 7th grade. Like, what do you mean? Some of the careers that exist now won't even exist by the time I'm in the workforce. It's insane. But research today actually shows that teens report stress levels higher than adults, according to an American Psychological Association study called Stress in America. It was a survey they did. You guys report having higher stress levels than adults. And if you look at your parents or whatever, you're like, ugh, brother, ugh. Like, what's that? I don't want to live that life. That seems horrible. Like, your parents are always tired and stuff. They're always like paying bills and working all the time and seem so stressed out. It's like, God, I don't want to be like that, right? And you're more stressed than they are. It just shows up differently, often in silence, often in secret, for you to deal with it in ways using tools that you don't have, and it's just messed up. So we want to talk about that in this series, because if life feels heavy, I want you to know, I want to validate you right now, it's not weakness, it is a legitimate weight. If life feels heavy, it's because there's heavy weight on you, actually. And I just want to validate you with that right now, because I don't know, bro, like I used to get, oh, you'll understand when you're older, or like when you grow up, you'll understand. It's like, no, you're going through hard stuff now. And with that being the case, it's easy to think that if God was really here, this wouldn't be so hard, right? If there's this God who's apparently good and with me all the time, like in all the songs we just sang and stuff, then like, why don't I feel it? Why doesn't it seem like it when I look around in this experience I have with life? Well, I think some of it has to do with the fact that you're here. You'll hear me say this a lot, and it's when you say yes to Jesus, you pick a fight with Satan. He doesn't want you to win. When you try to live better, more adversity comes your way, you can almost expect it. It's almost predictable. I'll reference my dad who said, the years after I gave my life to Christ were the worst years of my life. And man, it's because a spiritual battle starts to ensue. You weren't a threat before, now you are. Right? In fact, in John 16:33, Jesus says this, that you will have trouble. Battles are not avoidable. They're not optional. They're almost a guarantee. It's not you might have trouble. You will have trouble in this life. So the real question is not if you face battles. It's how will you understand them when you do. Right? But now with this in mind, I'm going to look at a familiar passage of Scripture. You can go ahead and get there. It's in the Old Testament. I'm not in the Old Testament often, but this passage, if I'm going to talk about battles, I got to talk about this. It's in the book of 1 Samuel. So if you're going there in your Bible app or whatever, 1 Samuel 17. I like to underline stuff, take little notes even in my Bible app or in notes so that you can go back and reference them later if God did anything, pointed anything out to you or whatever. So feel free to do that. But we do have people in the back. So if you're low-key gaming or on Snap or something or making stickers of my chopped face in the middle of the sermon, like, we'll come for you. Stop it. This in 1 Samuel chapter 17, as you're getting there to set it up, this is the famous showdown between a young, unassuming, small shepherd boy named David and a gigantic, humongous, enormous warrior Philistine named Goliath. Now, you're probably familiar with this story, but I want to, like I said, look at it in an unfamiliar type of way. Now, the weight of two entire nations hinged on this battle between these two guys. And it was a lot at stake, a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. They knew it. You know it. They knew it too in this moment. And in verse 45, little David, stands in front of Goliath and he says this: "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, weapons, but I come to you in the name of the Lord Almighty. This battle is the Lord's." Did you catch it? There's a bigger battle raging than the physical one we see and often experience in our life. Like, we're on to something here. Paul even affirms this thousands of years later in the New Testament. He's writing to the Ephesians, and he says this in chapter 6, verse 12. The struggle, you're like, I know the struggle. It's with this person. It's with that person. It's with money. It's with college, whatever, job. No, our struggle is not against these physical things. It's not against flesh and blood, but it's against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. There's these invisible forces battling around us all the time that we can't see. What's up with that? And no one ever thinks about this, but what if David lost? Because he says this battle's he would have looked real dumb. He's like, you come at me with all this stuff, but this battle belongs to the Lord. And it is lost. It's like, ooh, did it? Yes, it did. It still did, because God is still good even if he lost. Whether David defeated Goliath or if Goliath defeated David, God is still good. Now, we know he defeats Goliath, right? And the outcome is the same, or the truth about the outcome is the same for them as it is for us. And it is this. Listen, the outcome doesn't define our identity. Jesus does. Win or lose. So now we're on to something even more. When we think about us and our future, we put this into our context, we don't know where it's going to go. We don't know how it's going to end. But does that make God any less good? Does that make him any less in control? Even if it goes bad, even if it does leave us broken and bloodied and disfigured or whatever along the way, can God still use that for good? Yeah. Even if it costs us our life, can God still use it for good? Like, is there a generational, eternal purpose that he's working out? I believe so. I've seen it. I talked about it in a couple weeks ago and in the last series that we did about a couple of my friends that I lost. And I've seen, it's not good. Nothing good about that. But I've seen good come from it. And if you hold on long enough, you'll always see good come from it. It's interesting how God does that. Now, he didn't in this case. We know that David wins and all that kind of stuff, right? And then, yay, happy, like, oh, he skips off into the sunset and everything's great. And that's what you learn about in VBS and in Sunday school. It's like, yay, even though you're a little guy, you can still do big things. But that's not the end of the lesson. Like that's only 1 Samuel chapter 17, bro. Keep reading. It goes on for a long time and more junk happens. Does it get easier? No. Stuff doesn't get easier for David. Immediately following this battle with Goliath, David struggles for years with a king named Saul who was trying to kill him actively all the time, coming after him. He had to live in constant fear and evasion from this dude who had a lot of power and resources at his fingertips, trying to literally kill him all the time. David faced personal battles, which are well documented all throughout the Old Testament, in Psalms and Song of Solomon. David would face betrayal and bloody battle after bloody battle. Goliath wasn't the end. It's not like, yay, close the book. No, that was just the beginning. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. One thing that's true when you look at the life of David, and as I've reflected on my own life, every time I was like, I can't do this. I can't go on. I can't keep living like this, or just in general, like having those thoughts. You get through it. I got through it, and then something even harder came later. And you know what I ended up doing? I ended up finding myself grateful for that battle, because it prepared me for this one. And I found out, like, I could never do this if it wasn't for that. I could never survive this if it wasn't for that. So I'm now grateful for that. Isn't that weird? It's like I'm so grateful I broke up and like spent a year crying and journaling in my closet next to candles, feeling so sad for myself because it prepared me for this, having a miscarriage. It's insane. Like, and then that prepares me for, you just keep on going. What is God preparing me for even now? I don't know. But what I do know is I can make it because I've made it through that. I can make it through this. And the same is true for David. Same is true for you. Each battle prepares us for the next one. He's still good. And as long as we're sucking air, we're not done. There's actually this, if you know me, I'm a kind of a nerd at times. And I like science. I hated it in school, but now that I'm out, I'm like, physics. Can't get enough. And you probably aren't like that, but bear with me, okay? I'm going to take you down a little rabbit hole. There's this concept called hormesis. You all know what I'm talking. You've heard this, right? It's defined as this. Hormesis describes a phenomenon where low to moderate damage or challenge or stress causes an organism or a system to adapt and become stronger. It's literally the scientific principle of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's what it's saying. It's like if you experience pain or damage or something, a living organism makes it through that, it learns and adapts and actually becomes stronger and more capable and able to handle something more. Now, examples of hormetic stress with a positive outcome include things like exercise. If you've ever exercised, you know what's really going on? There are these micro tears happening in your muscles. On the microscopic level, it looks like damage. And it's painful and you're sore and it hurts, but it actually results in more strength. Bone strength is the same kind of thing. When pressure is applied to bones over and over again for extended periods of time, whether it's through like weightlifting or running or something like that, it actually increases bone mineral deposits into the bones, making them stronger and more capable. Trees in the wind, same kind of thing. When a tree blows in the wind, they develop thicker trunks and a deeper root system. They're more deeply rooted, and they're able to handle storms that may come in the future. Forest fires, you probably know about this. They recycle nutrients into the fire, and you're like, bro, my life is a forest fire. It's burning down. Well, listen, like these cells respond, they create healthier future growth for things that might not have ever grown, for ecosystems that didn't previously exist. You could never have even imagined. Maybe it could look totally different and actually be healthier and better. And I got to go through this. Immune system strength is the same type of way. We train immune memory cells to respond more effectively later when a disease actually hits. That's why we get like vaccines and stuff now. Not to be political, I don't know. And then the last one is carbon. Carbon, when it experiences immense heat or pressure, it literally reorganizes the atomic structure and it becomes one of the hardest known natural materials, a diamond. Pretty cool. Now listen to this. Fragile things break under stress. Living systems often adapt through stress. And you are not a fragile thing. You are a living system with the breath of a living God in your lungs. The same breath that was in Jesus when death itself tried to break him, but it couldn't. And he begged, Father, if you are willing, let this cup pass from me. Let this suffering avoid me. I don't want to experience this. God knows I've prayed that before. Probably you have prayed that before too. Like, God, can I not? But then there's a second part to that prayer, and he says, yet, I want your will to be done, not mine. And I trust whatever that is. I trust you with my future, wherever you're taking me. I don't understand it right now. I don't get it right now. None of this makes sense, and it sucks, and I don't want to go through this. But I trust that there's a reason for it that I don't understand. God had something bigger in store for Jesus, and he does for you and me, all of us too. I know it's hard to see, but I can guarantee you that everything in my life, everything that I've ever been through has made me the person that I am today, and I'm thankful for it all. And there's been some pretty rough stuff. So my advice for you this week is that instead of asking God, why is this happening to me? Because I hear that question a lot. Look, dude, I can't answer that question for you. I don't know. I wish I did. But instead of asking that, maybe rephrase the question and ask God, what are you forming me into? How might this help me in the future? How might this bless someone else in the future? Maybe even someone that I haven't even met yet. Maybe someone that's not even born yet. How can I grow through this challenge? And someday use it for your good. Is it hormetic stress breaking me down so that I can be stronger for something later? I don't know. The breakups, the failures, the tears, feeling like I couldn't do it. It didn't kill me. It literally made me stronger. Which is interesting. The phrase, I hate it, like I said, it's very cliche, and it's not always true, but it kind of can be. It sort of depends on us. It depends on our perspective, how we navigate the situation. And there's this passage even, it's like death is gain. You know, it's a heavy thought to wrap your mind around, but like, what's the worst thing that happened to me? Like, you take my life? Man, like, even that could be used for God's glory. It's just so crazy. So what do we have to fear? That's what it says. It's like, what can man do to me? There's nothing anyone can do to me. The worst thing that can happen can still be used for God's good. So I'm good, no matter what. What is this? I'm experiencing this. It's hard. It sucks. It's the worst thing I've ever been through in my entire life. We can do it. You're not alone. I've made it. You can too. Most of you guys have probably never heard of the songwriter I mentioned earlier, Allie. But you might have heard of the song that she wrote out of that experience where she said, I didn't want to do it. I don't want to, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, turn back, right? It's this song called Stronger, and it was recorded by Kelly Clarkson in 2011. And this song received 3 Grammy nominations, 29 consecutive weeks on the Billboard Hot 100, millions of copies sold, international recognition, and pop culture legacy status forever. All because she was in this horrible breakup. What was born in brokenness turned into something beautiful. And God will do the same thing for you every single time if you hang in there.